Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, in the studio this morning. What is your favorite Thanksgiving dish, sir?
Well, it probably would have to be. Got all choked.
Sorry, I made him take a hit from the bong before we started this thing.
It would have to be the traditional turkey and dressing. That's what I was raised on.
Just the turkey dressing, that's it.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
You're not like a green bean casserole, let's go.
Well, it doesn't. I don't turn it down.
So everything is Ned's favorite. He is always right down the middle. Well, personally, my wife's green bean casserole, and I'm probably the same, man. Gravy on everything. More of a turkey guy than a ham guy, but I will still have ham if it's offered. But definitely more turkey.
Oh, no, it's got to be turkey.
Got to be turkey. All right, now, gobble, gobble, let's move on to football. Chiefs take on the Rams on Sunday in the mid-afternoon game. Rams, obviously, are the Super Bowl champions, but they are a perfect example of what happens when you take those two dice, you put them in your hand, and you say, win now, and throw them, because sometimes it works, and in their case it did, but after it's over, it just falls apart.
Well, they did have some very good fortune last year, and that's true, and they've had some very bad fortune this year. They're not all that bad a team, but they can't really be winning because they don't have any players in there, any of their stars. Here's Matt Stafford, he's out, concussion protocol. Then you have Cooper Kupp, who's arguably one of the best receivers in all of football. He's out. They have other nagging injuries. There is one player who is in there, and that's Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald is perhaps the best defensive lineman in the National Football League, but he can't do it himself. Still, the Rams get out there. They have to play. They've lost 4 straight. Their record's 3-7. They're pretty much out of any kind of running in the playoffs. But the fact remains they'll get out there and play. They'll hit the Chiefs hard or as hard as they can. Kansas City will win it, probably by a couple of touchdowns. Kansas City is good enough that they do not put their foot on the pedal and smash teams. They don't do that. I don't think that's the Andy Reid philosophy. Now, if they have to, if it's a high-scoring game, they will. But I don't perceive this one as being all that much. It'll be John Wolford who will get the start for the Los Angeles Rams at quarterback, and nobody even knows who he is. Kid from Wake Forest. He's been around for several years. But fact remains that Kansas City will go in there and probably win the game easily and then continue right on from there because, in my opinion, Mike, as I've told you before, they're the best team in the NFL.
Well, let's hope they stay that way. Healthy is a big part of that, too. And we do have, like we mentioned yesterday, a pretty easy schedule, quote-unquote, through the rest of the season, according to the pundits. All right, tomorrow, obviously, is a great holiday for guys like me who like to eat, drink, and watch football because that's what you get all day. But you look at the games, and the first one, Bills-Lions, you think, well, that might be good. The other two, Cowboys, Giants, that looks really good. Vikings, Patriots, night game, that looks good. But then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, you know what? The Lions beat the Packers. They beat the Bears. And they just beat the Giants. And the Giants are 7-3. They're going against the Bills. I know that the Bills on paper should win, but that might be a good game too.
It's in Detroit, and the Detroit Lions are always fired up for Thanksgiving. They always play at home on Thanksgiving. They are the traditional Thanksgiving team. The Cowboys also do, but they're much later in the line. The Lions started their tradition in 1934.
Wow.
That's how long ago that was. And they played on Thanksgiving every Thanksgiving since then, except for World War II, and then they postponed a lot of the games. But over and above all that, the Lions will be ready. They are not all that bad a team. You saw what they did to the New York Giants last week. I think the Bills probably get them. The Bills are a slight favorite, but on Thanksgiving Day, gosh, I remember so many years ago when the matchup on Thanksgiving was always the Lions and the Packers. Always. That was the NFL had it schemed that way.
They based the schedule off of that game.
They did. In a sense, they did. Well, the Packers weren't very good, and the Lions were. Well, in the early 1960s, the Packers were really good football team. They were the champions. Detroit had begun to falter a little bit, yet every Thanksgiving, Green Bay'd go into Detroit and get beat. Vince Lombardi went to the NFL office. That's how much power this guy had. Said, get us out of there now, right now. We're not going to play. Say NFL, yes, sir. So it changed, I think, in 64, 65, somewhere around there. They changed opponents, but it was always the Packers and the Lions.
And that interesting, and a couple of years later, they would win a Super Bowl after he went there and put his foot down. It's interesting how this plays out in the league. All right, but that's not the only football going on tomorrow. It's also a college game.
One college game that's very intriguing, as a matter of fact, because there's a lot riding on it. Ole Miss and Mississippi State. They play every year. It seems to be the Thanksgiving tradition. Now, used to be Texas and Texas A&M, and fans loved that game. But then Texas A&M changed conferences, and next year they'll be all the same again. But they changed conferences, so the game got scrubbed, and the folks at A&M don't like Texas. So where do we go next? Mississippi and Mississippi State. And they despise each other. They're not very far away from each other, Starkville and Oxford. Well, the Mississippi State Bulldogs go to Ole Miss in Oxford on Thanksgiving night and play for the Golden Egg. That's what it's called. This is a really, really tough rivalry. These guys are good teams, both of them. Mike Leach at Mississippi State, he's, what do you say, out of center sometimes. He's a little offbeat. And Lane Kiffin at Mississippi may be going elsewhere. You have a lot of intrigue going into this game. Two pretty good football teams. Ole Miss is a slight favorite. Many of the football experts think Mississippi State goes in there and wins. We'll see.
You put any chocolate chips on this one?
I don't think so. It's too close a call.
Yeah, you're a smart guy.
I only go with the sure thing.
Yeah, and those are usually wrong. Bears and Lady Bears this weekend, where are they at?
The Lady Bears are in Las Vegas. They play on Friday. The Bears are in Nassau in the Bahamas, and they play on Friday. The difference is the Bears have 3 games, Lady Bears have 2, but we'll tee it up and see what happens on the basketball court.
The turkey dressing guy, like you said, as far as Thanksgiving dessert, where are you at? Are you pumpkin pie guy, apple pie?
No, I'm more apple.
You're apple?
More an apple pie. Apple pie with a slice of cheese. And that's a tradition.
My man.
Oh, it is good.
Fancy pants
really,
over here.
Really good, but the pumpkin pie is also good. Don't have any problem with that, other than that is getting a little old.
You're kind of like, I want one slice and that's it. I'll take one slice a year. I'm the same way. Now let me ask you, what kind of cheese do you have with your apple pie?
Typical sliced cheddar cheese.
Just cheddar cheese?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's not like specific. It's got to be like a weird kind of white, weird.
No, nothing like
tasting.
that. But apple pie with cheese is now. It may be geographic because that's what happens on the East Coast. That's
you put it on top, or you take a bite and a bite.
Put a slice of it on the side and just eat the cheese along with the.
Okay,
apple pie.
I am doing that this week. I'm going to try it. I'll come back and report to you on Monday. I'll say, Ned, you blew my mind, or I'm going to say that was the most disgusting thing I've ever had. Official football rankings, or football bowl rankings, have been released, rather. Pretty much the way I thought it was going to be.
It was exactly the way we thought it would be for the top 4. Now, next week is going to be a whole lot different, and that's a promise, because one of the 2 teams, Ohio State or Michigan, Ohio State's 2, Michigan's 3, will lose. They play each other, so somebody has to lose. The key to the whole scheme of things is Texas Christian at number 4. Now, what happens there? Does TCU, if there is a change, do they advance? If they do, a new team is added. And who would that new team probably be? The number 5 team, which happens to be LSU. Does Louisiana State belong there? I don't know. I have some trepidations about that. You have Southern Cal at number 6. Southern Cal is very good. They play Notre Dame on Saturday night at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And not only is that a great traditional rivalry, it is often a rivalry that decides where you're going to end up in the national polls, and it certainly will with USC. Notre Dame is number 15 in the bowl rankings, so they're pretty much out of any national championship competition. But Southern Cal is not, and Southern Cal is very good. They have the old Oklahoma quarterback, Caleb Williams, and he's done a great job. That'll be a hell of a game. So you have any number of possibilities that will occur when the bowl rankings come out, and even then, the intrigue isn't over, because then you have the league championship games coming up, and they will all be very decisive.
They're all going to be pretty damn good as far as what I'm seeing. I think we got
one
good
exception
ones.
May be the Big Ten team, because it's either going to be Michigan or Ohio State against Illinois, and both Michigan and Ohio State are better than Illinois.
They are, but you never know. Illinois played okay last weekend.
2 points.
Yeah, I know. All right. College basketball locally happened yesterday. What we got?
We have a doubleheader over at the O'Reilly Family Event Center with the Drury and the Lady Panthers flip-flopping teams in there. Now, the Lady Panthers came away with a win. They played Cedarville, which is out of Ohio. It's a combination NCAA Division II and National Christian College Association. They have dual affiliations. Lady Panthers figured to win it, and they did 77-60. Drury, the men's team, played Southwestern Oklahoma State. Oh, my. The visitors came in and pinned a 20-point defeat on the Drury Panthers, 85-65. The Southwestern Oklahoma State team was 17 for 32 from three-point range, and you're going to win a lot of games when you're shooting that well. So now they'll play again, another doubleheader coming up tonight. Lady Panthers at 5:30, and the Lady Panthers will play Ashland. This is a different circumstance altogether. Ashland is undefeated. They are one of Drury's arch rivals in postseason playoffs. The Lady Panthers have played there at Ashland, Ohio in the NCAA Regionals and been beaten. They've also won there. Ashland very rarely ever comes over here to play. Terrific rivalry. That'll be a very good game. That's at 5:30.
Absolutely going to be a good game. Well, we've come full circle. Chiefs, Rams on Sunday. Broadcast starts at 1 p.m. with Ned Talk.
Mike, it'll be the pre-game show, which is euphemistically known as Ned Talk, and it will start at 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. We'll be here in the studio at 1. It is live. We have a nice little sit-down talk about not just football, but a lot of sports for an hour. That's 1 o'clock to 2. 2 to 3 is the Chiefs pregame show on the Chiefs Network. And then about 3:15 or 3:30 is when they'll kick it off up at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs and the Los Angeles Rams, the reigning Super Bowl champs, but a champion that's a shadow of its former self. They've lost 4 in a row, and they're 3-7 on the year, and the Chiefs are a big favorite. 14.5 points going into this one. However, play the game. That's how you're going to have to play it. So, indeed, we'll have it all right here on The Cave, and it should be a lot of fun, and I hope everyone has just a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ned. You have a great Thanksgiving as well. Enjoy your turkey and dressing and apple pie with a slice of cheese. I can't wait to check it out myself, my man. I'll tell you all about it on Monday. Have a great one.